Here are today's leading trends. You'll get the latest advances in inventory management. We'll show you how to select the optimal vision-enhanced robot for your bin picking operation. We'll be sizing up the latest technology in seismic design of storage racks. And we'll give you the information needed to find the perfect order to reduce errors in the supply chain. All these stories and more in today's Material Handling and Supply Chain Technology event. Hello everybody, I'm Jim Brennan and welcome to this Global Spec Online event. If you ask anyone what first comes to mind when you mention the subject of material handling, the most likely answer will be storage racks. Although they're plain and generally taken for granted, the storage rack is anything but ordinary to warehouse managers and OSHA inspectors. To these professionals, storage racks are an integral part of today's automated storage and retrieval systems. When it comes to warehousing and distribution, they are essential to a company's bottom line. And when you talk storage, of course, you're talking about the broader topic of inventory management. During the recent recession, companies around the world rediscovered the value of properly managed inventory strategies. Identifying slow-moving SKUs, for example, can free up much-needed working capital. Improved document automation can also create capital and enhance customer service at the same time. Perfecting the perfect order concept within the supply chain, in fact, is a proven way to reduce the cost of labor, transportation, and error. And what about all those bins full of randomly placed parts? Well, thanks to new robots working in tandem with constantly improving machine vision systems, bin picking has never been easier. The key to success, however, is not the robotic system, but the selection of an optimal bin picking strategy. During the course of today's conference program, our lineup of industry experts will elaborate on all of these subjects. You'll learn about the seismic design of storage racks and how to make the most of inventory management. You'll discover how to select the optimal vision-enhanced robot for your bin picking operation and how to achieve the perfect order to cut down on errors in the supply chain. You'll find today's presentations on the world of material handling and supply chain technology, like storage racks, is anything but ordinary. Now, before we get to our first speaker, I'd like to invite you to submit your questions at any point during this presentation by using the Enter Question and Submit button at the base of this video console. You can also download a copy of our presenter's PowerPoint presentation for easy reference and note-taking during this session. Simply click on the button labeled Download PPT. Now, in today's trying economic times, inventory management presents an excellent opportunity to free up much-needed working capital. Many companies have come to realize that slow-moving or obsolete inventory, known as SLOB management, provides one of the easiest avenues for working capital creation. On the other hand, the risks associated with carrying excess inventory can result in a significant loss of revenue if excess product is sold to the wholesale market. Rather than piling up excess material for too long, companies need to work with supply chain specialists to implement inventory optimization strategies. In our next presentation, attendees will learn how to identify and manage slow-moving SKUs and slow-moving customers to create capital and, at the same time, enhance customer service. Even small changes regarding inventory processes and procedures can help an organization reduce inventory liability and exposure, maximize revenue recovery, and reduce operational costs, all while maintaining total customer satisfaction. Our next speaker has more than 9 years' experience in strategic logistics, manufacturing, warehousing, and distribution. His knowledge of inventory strategy has helped clients throughout North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Aman Sapra is project manager with St. Onge Company. He's here to explain how a critical relook at inventory management practices can provide significant revenue and operational efficiency opportunities. Aman, welcome to Global Spec.
Thank you for having me here. Over the next 30 minutes, I intend to talk through some of the basic techniques we've been using, some data analytics we've been using to make the most out of inventory management practices that are currently affecting most of the supply chain operations. So what I want to cover over the next 30 minutes would be a quick revisit on the inventory value proposition. I also want to talk about some of the supply chain efficiencies that can be gained through product and customer segmentation strategies. And then alongside what should come out is a pretty quick review of best-in-class techniques for identifying the inventory management paradigm and relating to the inventory management paradigm as a whole. So I'll start out with the very basic inventory management challenge. What is, and this is a question that a lot of us deal with, have to answer, usually are forced to answer in boardroom settings. What is my minimum investment in inventory needed to have the right item in the right place at the right time to achieve my customer service objectives? Now again, there are multiple conflicting objectives that come into play. You've got sales on one side that is looking for product availability. You've got marketing that is increasingly affecting the SKU portfolio with increased item offerings and promotions. You've got transportation and delivery, which wants to provide reliable and efficient customer service. You've got procurement that wants to handle a global supply base, hopefully consolidate sources of supply. You've got distribution that comes into play that wants to reduce the space and the handling requirements. What that essentially means is you want to minimize the amount of inventory you carry, and you want to reduce the number of echelons that inventory travels through. And then you also have manufacturing, which wants to maintain production efficiencies. Suddenly what we are talking about is larger batch sizes. So again, and overlying or underlying all of this largely is finance and the stakeholders, and they're looking to reduce the inventory investment. So again, multiple conflicting objectives that come together. So given these multiple conflicting challenges, what essentially comes down to is why this critical interplay with regards to inventory and why the multiple stakeholders. Well, it ties back to the inventory management value proposition. What is inventory management? Inventory management is a best practice that combines state-of-the-art technology and supporting planning processes to deliver a reduction in inventory along with increased revenue from increased service levels. Overall, you're looking at a reduction in operating costs, as also a reduction in space requirements. And of course, from a management perspective, you're looking at reduced exception handling and the requirement for expediting through optimal inventory policies. So again, the keywords there being optimality, best practice, as also a combination of technology and processes. What we'll talk about today is going to be a lot with regards to processes rather than technology. So again, how do we cover the breadth and the depth of inventory management? Inventory management essentially is an overarching concept that covers three basic fundamental building blocks. You've got demand management, fulfillment planning, and replenishment planning. Demand management ties into everything with regards to demand sensing, trend analysis, forecasting. How much would you sell? Where would you sell? How should you plan your promotions? Fulfillment planning deals with having the right inventory at the right place, optimizing safety stocks, cycle stocks, to deal with everything that demand management covers. And once we figured out fulfillment, we also want to make sure that we actually implement what we planned for in fulfillment, and that's where replenishment planning comes into play. We deal with deployment strategies and managing inventory on a day-to-day basis. So again, all three of them have to be worked in tandem and efficiently to optimize the inventory management process. So again, inventory optimization per se, which a lot of where there's a lot of focus these days, tends to deal with fulfillment planning alone. Overall, when you look at demand management, fulfillment planning, replenishment planning, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the right part at the right time, in the right place, in the right quantity, and sold or bought at the right price for you to be able to effectively work through the revenue stream. Again, you're looking at increased efficiencies, higher service levels, and you're also looking to reduce your working capitals at the end of the day. So again, three broad things: demand management, fulfillment planning, and replenishment planning. A lot of times, we get the question, we've got some sort of an inventory management problem. Unfortunately, there's no strict definition of an inventory management problem. From our experience over the last few years, we've actually seen multiple inventory management problem types. They could deal with network evaluation impact, which might actually mean how do you optimize the inventory from a sourcing perspective. Where should you deploy your inventory as it comes into multiple factories from one supplier? Do you have a hub and spoke network that comes into play there? Or if you're going from a finished goods perspective, let's say that you were changing your network configuration and you're going from 4 warehouses to 5 warehouses, or 4 distribution centers to 5 distribution centers, or vice versa, you're going from 4 to 3. What would be the inventory impact there? What would happen if you start to make some forecasting changes, practices or processes or even technology? Accuracy, risk, bias, how would that be affected with regards to inventory? Because forecasting practices do have a tie-in into inventory. You also get into a lot of service policy definition related arguments, largely with regards to contractual obligations, people expecting 99% service levels, especially you talk about the pharmaceutical world. It tends to get fairly contractual on the service policy definitions there. You could also talk about service alignment. Who gets serviced and how? Do you centralize all your slow movers? Do you put them away and keep them close to the point of demand? Which actually ties into inventory positioning, but inventory positioning deals a lot with regards to postponement. When do you package it? How much do you keep in work in process versus in finished goods? Where do you buffer the stock? You could also get into problem types where you deal with the economic production or the sourcing lot sizes. You only want to deal with the slow-moving stock so often versus you want to have a very good handle on your fast-moving stock. And then you also get into network asset utilization, where you're saying, seasonally, do I need some storage locations, especially if you think about the confectionery world or the chocolate world. You have bills that come in right close to Easter, and then they come in through the holidays right around between Thanksgiving and New Year's. So right there, how do you deal with those peaks that come through? That gets into a lot of network asset utilization. You also get into replenishment planning. You might be doing a great job with regards to demand planning. You might be doing a great job with regards to fulfillment planning. But when it gets into replenishment planning, that might be a problem area, and that is where a solution focus might be required. Or you might just say, fulfillment planning, we need to optimize and operationalize our safety stock targets. Currently, my policy is 3 weeks of safety stock across the board, but is there something that's better? Do I need only 1 week on some of the SKUs and then 5 weeks on other SKUs? So you get into multiple problem types there. And an inventory strategy as a whole tends to focus on one or a combination of any of these aspects of inventory management. Having said that, let's talk about how an inventory service trade-off curve appears. So if you pick up your current stock norms and your availability of stock, what you'll probably see is, this is again something that we've seen through multiple studies. Through the shape of the curve pretty much stays the same. So there's an optimized curve that comes into play, which you see on your screens with the dark blue dots. So that provides the optimal stock on hand that you should have for each and every SKU. So you've got the SKU count,